The city of Zithera was alive with light and motion. Crystalline towers reflected the three suns, painting the streets below with golden, blue, and violet hues. Hovering vehicles zipped through the air, leaving streams of light behind. Everywhere Lyra looked, she saw aliens moving with precision, their bodies glowing faintly with energy that humans would never understand. Yet amidst all this, her attention was drawn to a peculiar sight, a human. Lyra stood on a balcony overlooking the central plaza. Her sharp eyes scanned the crowd, noting the details of every being below. She had studied humans for years, cataloging their behavior, their weaknesses, their simple bodies. She had never seen one truly impressive. Until today, the human moved clumsily. His name, she had learned from the observation logs, was Ethan. He seemed unaware of the flow of the crowd around him, tripping over small obstacles and brushing past aliens with polite apologies that no one understood. He carried a simple bag over his shoulder and wore standard human clothing that seemed almost comically plain in comparison to the glowing suits and advanced armor of the Zitherans. Lyra raised an eyebrow. Ordinary, fragile, perhaps even foolish, she thought. She had expected humans to be simple creatures, incapable of understanding the complexities of alien life. And yet, there was something about the way he moved, the way he observed the world, that caught her attention. Ethan paused in front of a hovering food cart, examining a strange alien fruit. The vendor, a tall being with 4 arms and shimmering green skin, gestured excitedly at him. Ethan smiled politely, but his eyes betrayed curiosity. He reached out and touched the fruit lightly, turning it over in his hand, then slowly nodded. The vendor chirped happily, and Ethan placed a small coin in the tray. He tasted the fruit and nodded again, muttering something under his breath in a language no one else spoke. Lyra's lips curled into a small, almost imperceptible smile. Simple human, and yet she didn't understand why. But her instincts told her to watch him closely. Something about him did not fit with her expectations. As Ethan walked away from the cart, the ground beneath him trembled slightly. A small vibration ran through the plaza, causing a nearby crystal display to shake. Lyra's eyes narrowed. She had seen many earthquakes on Zithera, minor tremors that passed through the city without warning, but this felt different, focused, localized. Ethan stopped, confused, looking around at the reactions of the surrounding aliens. Machines beeped and wavered, some hovering vehicles wobbling slightly in the air, and then, just as suddenly as it had started, the tremor ended. The city continued as if nothing had happened. Ethan, unaware, continued his walk, humming softly to himself. Lyra descended from the balcony with the grace of a predator. Her boots clicked lightly on the crystalline steps, but she moved silently, unnoticed by the crowd. She wanted to see more. She wanted to understand why this human, so ordinary in appearance, seemed to have an effect on the world around him. She followed him through the plaza, keeping a careful distance. Ethan wandered past the market, where holographic advertisements flashed above the streets and into a quieter district. Here the buildings were lower and the lights dimmer. Fewer aliens moved through the streets, but the city's pulse was still strong. Lyra observed him closely. He stopped at a fountain, looking down at the water with interest. He picked up a small stone, skipped it across the water, and laughed quietly at the way it bounced. The vibrations from the stone were nothing extraordinary, yet Lyra felt a faint hum under her feet, a resonance that seemed connected to him. Strange, she murmured. Humans were supposed to be fragile, delicate, yet this one, she could not explain it. Her thoughts were interrupted by a sudden commotion. A hover cart carrying a group of Zitheran engineers lost control, tilting dangerously as sparks flew from its machinery. Aliens shouted and leaped back. Without thinking, Ethan ran toward the cart. Lyra's eyes widened. This was not expected. Humans were cautious by nature, she had noted in her studies. They usually avoided danger. Yet this human, this ordinary human, moved forward without hesitation. He grabbed the edge of the cart and pushed it away from a group of panicked aliens. The cart hit a support pillar and toppled safely, and Ethan stumbled back, brushing dust from his clothes. The aliens who had been in danger stared at him, stunned, murmuring among themselves. Ethan looked confused by their reaction, as if he had only done what was necessary. Lyra approached from a distance, her curiosity now fully engaged. Courageous, perhaps instinctive, or perhaps more than that. Ethan resumed walking, unaware of her gaze. He paused at a street corner, looking around as if deciding which way to go next. The ground trembled again, stronger this time, though only subtly. Lyra felt it beneath her feet. Machines near him shook slightly. A low hum vibrated through the air. Lyra's heart raced, not in fear but in intrigue. She had never seen a human have such an effect on the environment. The tremors were small, almost imperceptible, yet they were real. She could feel the energy resonating outward from him. Curious, she whispered. She had studied alien energy, elemental forces, even the mysterious gravitic fields that ran beneath Zithara's surface. She understood their patterns, their limits. But this human, he seemed to defy expectation. Lyra decided it was time to speak with him. She stepped from the shadows of the alley, her presence commanding yet non-threatening. Ethan looked up, startled by the sudden appearance of a tall, armored alien warrior. His hands went up instinctively, though not in fear, more in greeting. "Hello," Ethan said simply, smiling politely. His voice was calm, even though the warrior before him could crush him without effort. Lyra studied him, her gaze sharp. "You are a human," she said. "Your presence, it is unusual. You cause tremors. Do you know this?" Ethan blinked, confused. "Tremors, no. I didn't notice anything. I'm sorry if I caused trouble." Lyra's lips twitched, unaware yet powerful. "Come with me," she commanded. "I need to understand." Ethan hesitated for only a moment. Something about Lyra's tone, firm but not cruel, made him nod. "Sure, lead the way." As they walked through the quiet streets, Lyra observed him carefully. He moved with an ease that was strange for a human, his body adjusting naturally to the city's complex terrain. Every step he took seemed to ripple faintly through the ground. She could feel it now more clearly, vibrations moving along with him like echoes of an unseen force. They reached a large open plaza, where a series of energy crystals rose from the ground, pulsating softly. Lyra gestured for Ethan to stand at the center. "Step forward," she said. "Do nothing. Just stand still." Ethan complied, standing with his hands relaxed at his sides. Lyra activated a scanner that measured gravitic energy, resonances, and vibrations. The screen lit up with readings she had never seen before. The crystals near Ethan began to pulse more rapidly, reacting to his presence. Lyra's eyes widened. She had never encountered such energy. How could an ordinary human cause this? Ethan tilted his head, noticing the crystals. "Are they okay?" he asked. "Do they need help?" Lyra stared at him, almost forgetting to speak. Compassion, awareness, and power. "Perhaps you are not as ordinary as I thought," she murmured. For the first time, Ethan looked at himself as if noticing his own presence. He felt a strange warmth under his feet, a connection to the crystals around him. He laughed softly. "I guess I'm a bit unusual then." Lyra smiled, though she did not fully understand why. She had expected fear, weakness, or confusion from humans. Instead, she found something stronger, something resilient, instinctive, and unexpectedly extraordinary. The city continued around them, oblivious to the hidden potential now stirring in its streets. But Lyra knew this was only the beginning. She had underestimated humans for too long, and this one, Ethan, was about to change everything she thought she knew. The ground trembled once more beneath them, small but deliberate, almost as if it were whispering a secret. The ordinary could hold extraordinary power, and for Lyra, watching him, it was a secret she was determined to understand. The sun hung low in the Zitharan sky, casting long shadows over the crystalline towers. Lyra and Ethan walked side by side through the quieter parts of the city, away from the crowded plazas and bustling markets. The streets here were narrower, lined with smaller shops and workshops where Zitharans crafted intricate devices and machinery. It was peaceful, but even in this calm, Lyra could feel the faint hum of energy resonating from Ethan. Ethan glanced around, noticing the alien architecture in more detail. "Your city is incredible," he said softly, his eyes wide with wonder. "I've never seen anything like this." Lyra's gaze remained fixed on him. "Do you feel it?" she asked. "The tremors? The energy?" He frowned slightly. "I don't... Not really. I mean, I feel a little vibration sometimes, but it's not noticeable." "Is it dangerous?" Lyra shook her head. "No, not dangerous, but unusual. Humans are not supposed to affect the world this way." She gestured to a nearby street where a hovering cargo crate shuddered slightly, almost as if responding to Ethan's presence. "Watch!" Ethan followed her gesture, eyes widening. Oh, I didn't do anything. I swear. Lyra's lips twitched into a small smile. Perhaps not intentionally, she said. But your body, your presence, it is more powerful than you know. I have never seen anything like it in a human, or any being for that matter. They continued walking, and as they passed under a row of streetlights, the tremors grew slightly stronger. Crystals embedded in the pavement pulsed faintly, and a few loose objects on nearby stalls rattled. Ethan paused, unsure if he should step forward or back. Step normally, Lyra instructed. Do nothing. Just walk. Ethan nodded and took a few steps forward. The ground hummed under his feet. Lyra's eyes narrowed. The vibrations were small but measurable, and they increased slightly with every step. She could see the energy around him reacting almost instinctively, bending subtly toward him as if recognizing a force it had never encountered before. Lyra stopped abruptly. Wait! She crouched and touched the ground. Do you feel that? Ethan bent down, pressing a hand to the crystalline pavement. I feel something, he admitted. It's faint, but there. Like a little vibration? Lyra straightened. Exactly. That is your presence. That is your power, Ethan blinked. Power? I don't feel powerful. I'm just... me. Lyra studied him closely. And yet, when you are calm or focused, the world responds to you. Machines, structures, even the crystals. They move with you, subtly, almost unconsciously. Most humans cannot do this. You can. He shook his head in disbelief. I don't understand. How can that be? Lyra didn't answer immediately. She studied him carefully, noting the slight pulse of energy around his body. You will understand in time, she said finally. But first, we need to test it. Ethan's eyes widened. Test it? How? Lyra led him to a small open training ground behind one of the workshops. The area was enclosed by low walls, and strange machinery and crystalline structures were arranged in patterns along the floor. This arena is used for testing abilities and control over energy, she explained. Step into the center. Ethan obeyed, feeling slightly nervous. He glanced around at the crystals and machinery, unsure of what to expect. Do nothing at first, Lyra instructed. Just stand. He stood still, breathing lightly, and the ground beneath him trembled subtly. The machinery reacted immediately, lights flickering and small displays shifting in response to his presence. Ethan tilted his head, surprised. Lyra observed him closely. Notice how the crystals respond to you? She asked. I think I feel it, Ethan said slowly. It's like they recognize me or something. Correct, Lyra said. Your body, your energy, your very presence, it interacts with the world around you. Not intentionally, not by thought. Just by being. Few beings can do this. Fewer humans, Ethan's brow furrowed. But I don't even know how. I'm not trying to do anything. Lyra shook her head. That is the point. It is instinctive, pure. That is why it is so remarkable. She gestured for him to move a few steps forward. As he walked, the tremors grew slightly stronger. Machines wobbled, small objects shifted, and even the energy crystals pulsed more intensely. Lyra stepped back, impressed despite herself. You are stronger than you realize, she said. Stronger than any human or alien I have ever encountered. Ethan stopped and looked down at the pavement. I don't feel strong, I just walk, Lyra laughed softly. Strength is not always about how hard you can hit or how fast you can run. Sometimes it is simply the ability to exist in a way the world cannot ignore. They practiced for several hours, with Lyra testing Ethan's influence over the crystals and small machines. At first, nothing dramatic happened. But as he grew more comfortable, the effects became more pronounced. Crystals pulsed in patterns that seemed almost artistic. Machinery shifted and aligned subtly, and even the ground itself seemed to respond to his steps. Lyra watched him carefully, fascinated. You are learning, she said. Even unconsciously, your control is improving. Ethan laughed a bit nervously. I'm just trying not to break anything. You are not breaking anything, Lyra assured him. You are awakening something. Something very few humans ever discover. The afternoon sun began to dip behind the towers, casting long shadows across the arena. Lyra motioned for Ethan to stop. Rest, she said. The energy you release is subtle but intense. Even your calm state affects the environment. Ethan wiped his brow, surprised by how exhausting it felt. I didn't think standing around could be this tiring, he said. Lyra shook her head, smiling faintly. It is not physical strength that tires you. It is the world reacting to your presence, your energy. You are extraordinary, Ethan. You just don't realize it yet. As they walked back through the quieter streets, the tremors grew slightly stronger again. But this time, they seemed to follow Ethan like a shadow. Crystals pulsed along the street, and a few floating devices wobbled as if acknowledging him. Aliens nearby noticed the subtle vibrations but said nothing, assuming it was a minor anomaly in the city's energy system. Ethan glanced at Lyra. "Do other humans have this?" he asked. Lyra considered her answer carefully. "Some may, but very few. Most humans are fragile, limited, huge or different. I do not know why, but the world itself seems to recognize your presence." They paused at a small plaza where children played near a fountain. The water shimmered strangely as Ethan stepped close, responding to his presence without him even realizing it. Lyra knelt beside a small measuring device and checked the readings. The hum of energy around him was growing stronger by the minute. Lyra's mind raced. If a human can awaken this potential naturally, imagine what could happen if it is trained, honed, controlled. Ethan, noticing her attention, tilted his head. "Am I dangerous?" he asked. Lyra shook her head quickly. "No, not dangerous, but powerful. You have the potential to change things, Ethan. Things that most beings, alien or human, cannot even imagine." He looked down, feeling a mix of fear and awe. "I just want to do what's right." Lyra smiled, a rare softness in her expression. "That is why you are extraordinary. It is not the strength itself that makes you remarkable. It is the heart behind it. Courage, kindness, awareness, these qualities guide your power." As the suns dipped below the horizon, casting the city in shades of purple and gold, Lyra and Ethan stood in silence for a moment. Around them, the city continued its rhythm, unaware of the growing potential in a single human walking among them. For Lyra, the lesson was clear. She had underestimated humans for too long. Ethan, this ordinary-seeming human, was anything but ordinary, and the tremors he left behind were only the beginning. The next morning, the city of Zythera shimmered under 3 bright suns. Crystalline towers reflected light in sharp patterns, painting the streets below with a kaleidoscope of color. Lyra led Ethan through narrow alleys, past quiet markets and workshops, to a hidden area in the heart of the city. This place was not open to the public. It was a training arena, reserved for warriors and beings with unusual abilities. Ethan's eyes widened. "This is huge. What is all this for?" Lyra gestured to the structures around them. "This arena tests skill, control, and awareness. Today I want to see how well you can handle your influence." Ethan hesitated. "Influence? You mean the tremors?" Lyra nodded. "Yes, the vibrations, the resonance, you do not yet understand them, but they can be guided. Today you will learn a little more." The arena was a strange labyrinth of platforms, energy fields, floating crystals, and moving machinery. Some platforms shifted in mid-air. Some rotated. Others were connected by narrow energy bridges. The walls were lined with devices that monitored energy, vibrations, and reactions to presence. It was a place designed to challenge even the most skilled warriors. Ethan took a deep breath. "Okay, I'll try." Lyra's eyes softened. "You do not need to try, Ethan. Just focus on yourself. Trust what you feel." He nodded and stepped into the center of the arena. Immediately, the floor beneath him hummed softly, a vibration that rippled outward, interacting with the machinery around him. The platforms above began to shift subtly, almost as if responding to his presence. Lyra watched closely. "Notice how the arena reacts. Nothing is fixed. It moves with you. That is your power, but it must be guided or it can cause chaos." Ethan glanced around nervously. "Guided? How do I guide it?" "By understanding it," Lyra replied. "By trusting your instincts. Your body knows what to do if you remain calm." The first challenge appeared, a series of rotating platforms hovering above a deep pit. They spun slowly at first, then faster as Ethan stepped closer. Lyra instructed him to cross without falling. He hesitated, feeling the tremors beneath his feet. For a moment, the platforms wobbled, reacting to his uncertainty. "Breathe," Lyra instructed. "Focus." Ethan inhaled slowly and stepped forward. The vibrations beneath him pulsed gently, almost like a heartbeat. He adjusted his steps, feeling the rhythm of the platforms and the energy beneath him. With each step, the ground seemed to respond, stabilizing the platforms as he moved. Lyra's eyes widened. Good. You are learning instinctively. By the time he reached the other side, Ethan felt a strange mix of relief and wonder. I did it? He asked, almost in disbelief. Lyra nodded. Yes, you did. And you did more than that. You adapted. That is the strength I see in you. The next challenge was more difficult, a corridor filled with energy barriers that pulsed intermittently. Touching them would trigger alarms and shocks, dangerous for anyone unprepared. Ethan's tremors made the barriers flicker slightly as he approached, giving him a momentary advantage. He hesitated, then closed his eyes, listening to the subtle hum of energy around him. Trust yourself. Lyra's voice echoed softly. He moved slowly, each step in tune with the vibrations he now felt. The barriers pulsed less as he walked, almost recognizing his presence. He reached the end without incident, his confidence growing. Lyra studied him carefully. You are not only aware of your influence, you are beginning to control it. That is remarkable for a human. Ethan smiled nervously. I didn't even know I was controlling anything. Lyra shook her head. Control does not always come from thought. Sometimes it comes from understanding, from harmony with your own energy. Humans rarely achieve this naturally, but you have it. The final test was the most dangerous. A floating array of crystalline platforms suspended over a pit filled with shifting energy fields. Some platforms rotated, some moved up and down, and some responded unpredictably to vibrations. Aliens had trained here for years without mastering the course completely. Ethan stepped forward, feeling the hum of the energy under his feet. For the first time, he understood the rhythm of the arena, the subtle push and pull of the crystals, the gentle vibration of the machinery, even the way the air seemed to react to his presence. He took a deep breath and began to move. The platforms wobbled slightly, but Ethan adjusted instinctively. His steps caused the vibrations to stabilize the moving surfaces ahead of him. When a platform rotated faster than expected, he shifted his weight naturally and the crystal responded, steadying itself. The energy fields below flickered, but Ethan's presence calmed them. Lyra's eyes were wide with awe. She had never seen anything like this. The human, who had appeared ordinary just days ago, was navigating the arena with precision and instinctive understanding. He was in tune with forces no human should have been able to perceive. Halfway through the course, a platform began to tilt dangerously. Ethan froze for a moment, unsure what to do. The tremors beneath him grew stronger, resonating through the arena. Without thinking, he adjusted his stance and the vibrations calmed the platform. It shifted back into place, stable enough for him to continue. Lyra's breath caught. He is not just reacting. He is shaping the environment around him. Ethan reached the final platform, standing over the pit filled with shifting energy. He paused, sensing the subtle waves of power beneath him. The ground hummed with increasing intensity, responding to his focus and calmness. He took one step forward, then another, and finally leaped to the final landing spot. The arena fell silent. The machinery, the crystals, even the energy fields seemed to hold their breath. Ethan stood, panting, unsure if he had passed or failed. Lyra approached him slowly, a rare smile on her face. You have passed, she said. More than passed. You have mastered instinctively what many beings, alien or human, struggle with their entire lives. Ethan blinked, overwhelmed. I did all that. How is that possible? Lyra shook her head. It is possible because you are extraordinary, not because of strength, not because of training, but because of who you are. Your instincts, your focus, your courage. They resonate with the world around you. Ethan looked down at his feet, feeling the subtle hum still vibrating beneath him. So I can control this? Lyra nodded. Yes, and with practice you can do far more than you have imagined. But remember, this power is not about destruction. It is about awareness, guidance, and courage. Ethan smiled faintly, still in disbelief. I never knew. Humans could. He paused, then shook his head. I never knew I could. Lyra placed a hand lightly on his shoulder. You are not just a human, Ethan, you are a force of change. And one day the world, or even the universe, may need that change. As they left the arena, the tremors beneath Ethan's feet were small but steady, a constant reminder of his potential. Lyra walked beside him, silently amazed at the discovery. She had thought humans were limited, fragile, and predictable, Ethan had proven her wrong. The city around them continued its rhythm, oblivious to the extraordinary events that had just unfolded. Machines hummed, crystals pulsed, and hover vehicles zipped through the air, all subtly influenced by a human who had appeared ordinary just days ago. Lyra realized something important. This was only the beginning. The arena had tested him, yes, but it had also awakened something far greater. The tremors, the energy, the instinctive connection to the world. It was only a glimpse of what Ethan could become, and Lyra was determined to see it. The sun began to set, casting long shadows across the crystalline city. Ethan looked at Lyra, a mixture of excitement and uncertainty in his eyes. "So now what happens next?" he asked. Lyra's smile was quiet but filled with purpose. "Next, we prepare for what is coming. The world will test you, Ethan, and I have a feeling it will tremble when you rise to meet it." Ethan nodded slowly, feeling both nervous and ready. The ground beneath him hummed, a faint tremor that seemed almost like a heartbeat. It was a reminder of the power he carried, a power he had only begun to understand. And as night fell over Zithra, Lyra knew that the ordinary human before her was anything but ordinary. The next day, the skies over Zithra were unusually dark for a planet with 3 suns. Even the normally bright crystalline towers seemed muted under the gray shadow that spread across the city. Lyra and Ethan stood at the edge of the central plaza, watching the alien citizens go about their day. The subtle hum of energy beneath Ethan's feet had become familiar, a constant reminder of the power he carried. But neither of them expected what was about to happen. A sudden, deafening roar split the air. Machines and structures vibrated violently, and the ground shook beneath the feet of those nearby. Citizens screamed and ran in all directions as a massive robotic sentinel emerged from the horizon. Towering over the buildings, its metal surface gleamed darkly. Its eyes glowed red, scanning the city with a cold, calculating intelligence. Lyra's eyes narrowed. "It's a sentinel," she said grimly. "An automated war machine. It must have been activated by someone, perhaps an enemy from the outer systems. Whatever it is, it's powerful and it will destroy anything in its path." Ethan stepped forward instinctively, his brow furrowed. What can we do?" Lyra turned to him. "We fight, and you? You will need to use your power. I will guide you, but this is the real test, Ethan, not the arena, not practice. This is life and death." Ethan swallowed hard, feeling the familiar hum beneath his feet grow stronger. The tremors responded to his heightened awareness, spreading outward in waves that interacted with the city around him. He looked at the towering sentinel, unsure if he could make a difference. Lyra grabbed his arm. "Trust yourself," she said. "Trust your instincts. The city needs you." With a loud crash, the sentinel stomped through the streets, sending vehicles flying and shattering the ground. Aliens tried to intercept it, firing energy weapons and throwing themselves at its metal limbs, but the machine was relentless. Its armor absorbed every attack, and its movements were precise, almost unstoppable. Ethan took a deep breath. The tremors beneath him grew stronger, pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. For the first time, he felt truly connected to the world around him, not just aware of it, but part of it. Machines, crystals, even the ground itself responded to his presence, stabilizing platforms and deflecting debris. Lyra watched closely. "Step forward, Ethan. Don't hesitate. Focus your energy." Ethan nodded, taking a cautious step. The sentinel swung one massive arm, aiming to crush a nearby building. Ethan's presence caused a subtle vibration through the ground. The structure shuddered, but instead of collapsing, it shifted slightly, absorbing the impact with minimal damage. He blinked in surprise. "It worked," Lyra shouted, pointing to the sentinel. "You can affect it too. Your presence, your energy, it can interfere with its systems." Ethan hesitated, then focused, sensing the machine's movements, the flow of its energy, and the vibrations it sent through the ground. He took a step closer. The sentinel paused, its sensors reacting oddly to the waves of energy emanating from him. Sparks flickered along its joints. Lyra's eyes widened. "Yes, keep going." Ethan concentrated, feeling the subtle rhythm of the sentinel as if it were part of the city itself. He took another step. The tremors beneath him pulsed stronger, resonating through the machine's metal limbs. Its movement slowed as though confused, disrupted by an invisible force. The city seemed to respond to him as well. Crystalline towers pulsed in time with the vibrations, energy conduits realigned, and some automated defenses that had previously failed now operated more effectively. Citizens watched from a safe distance, amazed and terrified, as an ordinary human appeared to influence a being far beyond their understanding. Lyra moved beside him. "You are doing it. Don't stop. Focus on your connection to the world around you. Feel the energy and let it guide you." Ethan's heart pounded, but he trusted her words. He closed his eyes briefly, feeling the vibrations of the ground, the energy of the buildings, and the flow of the Sentinel's movement. He stepped forward, concentrating on redirecting the pulses. The Sentinel faltered, stumbling slightly as if it were aware of a force stronger than itself acting through him. With another step, a wave of vibration radiated outward from Ethan, striking the Sentinel directly. Sparks flew from its joints, its glowing eyes flickered, and it let out a mechanical roar of frustration. Aliens cheered and fled simultaneously, unsure of whether to help or get out of the way. Lyra smiled, her heart racing. "You can do more than just affect the city. You can affect the Sentinel itself. Concentrate." Ethan felt a strange power building inside him, an energy he had never fully understood until now. He lifted his arms slightly and the vibrations pulsed stronger, reaching the machine's core systems. Metal groaned, sparks shot from joints, and the Sentinel staggered, its movement slowing dramatically. The alien soldiers around them rallied, firing coordinated attacks now that the machine was disoriented. Ethan, guided by instinct and Lyra's encouragement, stepped closer, each movement in harmony with the vibrations he generated. He felt almost like a conductor, directing the symphony of the city's energy, the Sentinel, and the surrounding structures. With a final, focused effort, he stomped his foot firmly on the ground. A shockwave radiated outward, amplified by his presence. The Sentinel wobbled, sparks flew everywhere, and with a deafening crash it toppled to the ground, immobilized. Smoke and steam rose from its broken joints, and the city held its collective breath. Ethan stood panting, unsure if he had done enough. Lyra approached him quickly. "You did it," she said, her voice filled with awe. "You saved the city. You are extraordinary." Ethan looked at the fallen Sentinel, then at the trembling ground beneath his feet. I didn't even think I could do that," he admitted, still in disbelief. Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. "It is not just strength. It is courage, awareness, and the connection you have with the world around you. Humans often underestimate themselves, Ethan, but today, you proved that even one human, one ordinary human, can make a difference greater than any machine or weapon." The city began to settle. Machines realigned, debris shifted safely aside, and the citizens cautiously returned to the streets. They whispered in awe about the human who had saved their city, a being they had once dismissed as fragile and weak. Ethan looked around at the recovering city, feeling a mix of pride and humility. "I just did what I had to do," he said softly. Lyra shook her head, smiling faintly. "No, you did far more than that. You awakened something within yourself, something even I cannot fully explain. The world responds to you, Ethan, and it respects you for it." The sun began to rise higher in the sky, casting light over the city and revealing the subtle tremor still pulsing faintly from where Ethan had stood. It was a reminder of the power he carried, a power that was no longer hidden. Lyra turned to him, her expression serious but filled with respect. "Ethan, the world, our world, and perhaps even others will challenge you. There will be forces that try to suppress you, control you, or destroy you. But remember what you felt today. Remember your connection to the world. That will be your greatest strength." Ethan nodded slowly, feeling a confidence he had never known before. The tremors beneath his feet had become steady, almost like a heartbeat in sync with the city. He realized that he was no longer an ordinary human. He was something more. Lyra studied him quietly, a rare warmth in her expression. She had once thought humans were weak and limited. Ethan had proven her wrong. He had shown her that courage, intuition, and the heart of a human could surpass even the most advanced technology. And she knew this was only the beginning. The city was safe, for now. But Lyra could feel the undercurrent of more challenges to come. Ethan's power, once subtle and unnoticed, had awakened something that could change the course of events in ways no one could predict. Ethan looked at Lyra, a faint smile forming. "So what now?" he asked. Lyra's eyes gleamed with purpose. "Now we prepare. The Sentinel was only the first. There will be more threats, more challenges, but I have a feeling the world will tremble whenever you rise to meet them. Ethan nodded, feeling a mixture of fear and excitement. The tremors beneath him pulsed softly, a constant reminder of the extraordinary force he carried within himself. He was no longer just a human. He was a guardian, a force of change. And as the sun bathed Zythera in golden light, Lyra knew that together they would face whatever challenges came next. The ordinary human she had once dismissed had proven something she could not ignore. True strength often comes from the heart, and courage can awaken power no one expects. The city continued its rhythm, but a new story had begun, one in which humans, long underestimated, could stand tall even in the face of overwhelming danger. Ethan smiled faintly, feeling the steady tremors beneath him, knowing that he had just taken his first steps toward becoming something truly extraordinary. The city of Zythera was quiet in the early morning light, but the calm was fragile. Even after the Sentinels' defeat, the city remained on high alert. Rumors of more threats from the outer systems had spread quickly, and the alien citizens watched the skies and streets with wary eyes. Lyra and Ethan walked side by side through the streets, surveying the city. The faint tremors beneath Ethan's feet were a constant reminder of the extraordinary power he now carried. Lyra glanced at him. "Today may come when this city or even others will test you again," she said softly. "And when that day comes, you must be ready." Ethan nodded, still feeling the weight of responsibility. I never thought I could do what I did yesterday. The Sentinel, I didn't even know humans could." He trailed off, shaking his head. "You did not just survive," Lyra interrupted. "You led. You protected. That is something humans rarely realize they are capable of. You have the potential to shape more than just this city, Ethan. You can shape the future itself." Ethan looked down at the ground. The tremors beneath him pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat in sync with the city. He had come a long way from being an ordinary human wandering through Zythera's streets. Now every step he took seemed to resonate with the life around him, the machinery, the buildings, even the people. As they walked through the central plaza, citizens stopped and stared. Some whispered in awe, others bowed slightly in respect. They had watched Ethan the previous day, and though he had not sought recognition, they now regarded him as a hero. Humans were rare on Zythera, and one with such courage and influence was almost unimaginable. A group of young aliens approached them, their eyes wide with curiosity. "Are you the human who saved the city?" one of them asked timidly. Ethan smiled awkwardly. I just did what I had to do," he replied softly. Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. "He is humble," she said proudly. "But do not mistake humility for weakness. Courage, wisdom, and kindness, these are strengths even the strongest warriors cannot teach." The young aliens nodded, their faces filled with admiration. Ethan felt a strange warmth in his chest. For the first time, he realized that his actions had meaning beyond himself. The tremors beneath him were no longer just a strange phenomenon. They were a part of him, a reflection of the strength within him. Suddenly, the ground shook violently. This was different from before. It was deliberate, menacing. Lyra tensed immediately, scanning the horizon. "Another threat," she said grimly, "and bigger than before." Ethan's heartbeat quickened, but he remained calm. He felt the vibrations beneath him, subtle at first, then growing stronger as he tuned into the energy around him. Unlike before, he was now aware of how his presence could influence the environment. From the distance, a massive fleet of alien warships appeared, hovering over the city. Their engines pulsed with energy that made the air shimmer. Lyra's eyes narrowed. "Outer system forces," she said. "They've come to claim Zythera, and this time they are not alone." Ethan took a deep breath. "Then we stop them," he said firmly. The tremors beneath his feet grew stronger, almost as if the city itself recognized his resolve. Lyra nodded. "Yes, we stopped them, together." The warships began to descend, weapons glowing ominously. Citizens ran for cover, while automated defenses activated across the city. Ethan focused, sensing every pulse of energy, every vibration, every movement. The world around him responded to his presence. Crystals pulsed, machinery shifted, and even the ground seemed to rise slightly under his influence. Lyra moved beside him. "Focus on the connections, Ethan. You are no longer ordinary. You are the link between this city and its safety." Ethan nodded, closing his eyes briefly. He felt the flow of energy around him, the hum of the buildings, the vibrations of the machinery, the rhythm of the people's movements. And he let it guide him. With a deliberate step, the tremors beneath him surged outward, interacting with the approaching warships. The ships shuddered, their energy shields flickering as they encountered the invisible wave of power emanating from Ethan. Weapons misfired, engines wavered, and chaos spread among the fleet. The city's automated defenses, previously overwhelmed, now worked in harmony with him, targeting the disrupted ships and driving them back. Lyra's eyes gleamed with pride. You are doing it. The city responds to you. You are not just influencing the ground, you are influencing everything around you. Ethan focused harder, feeling the rhythm of the energy around him. He stepped forward again, and the tremors pulsed stronger, waves radiating outward that caused the warships to falter and stagger. The ships wobbled in midair, some unable to maintain altitude. The citizens watched in awe as the ordinary human they once underestimated now stood at the center of a force beyond their comprehension. Lyra raised her voice. Now, Ethan, lead them away from the city. Ethan nodded. He moved toward the edge of the plaza, feeling the hum beneath his feet synchronize with the fleet's vibrations. Step by step, he guided the ships away, using the resonance of the ground and the city to disrupt their engines and weapons. The fleet scattered, some retreating entirely, while others faltered until they were finally forced to withdraw from Zithara's airspace. When the last warship disappeared beyond the horizon, the city erupted in cheers. Citizens came out of their hiding places, looking at Ethan with wonder and gratitude. The tremors beneath him had returned to a calm pulse, gentle now, like a heartbeat. Lyra approached him, her expression filled with awe and respect. Ethan, you did it! You saved the city again. You controlled forces no human or alien should have been able to control. You are extraordinary. Ethan shook his head, still in disbelief. I didn't even know I could do that. I just focused, Lyra smiled. Exactly. Courage, awareness, and the willingness to act, these are your strengths. You may appear ordinary, Ethan, but you are anything but. Humans have potential beyond what even the most advanced civilizations can imagine. Ethan looked around at the city he had protected. Buildings glimmered in the sunlight, repaired themselves with the help of automated systems, and citizens began to rebuild what had been damaged. The tremors beneath his feet were subtle, comforting, and steady. He felt a new sense of purpose, a new understanding of himself and what he could do. For the first time, he realized that being human did not mean being limited. Being human meant having courage, compassion, and the ability to connect with the world in ways that could change everything. Lyra studied him, her respect evident. The city will remember today, Ethan, and so will I. You have proven that even one human, when guided by heart and determination, can rise above expectations and achieve greatness. Ethan smiled faintly. I guess humans aren't as ordinary as people think. No, Lyra agreed, her eyes bright. They are extraordinary if they choose to be, and you have chosen well. The city began to settle into its normal rhythm. Citizens moved through the streets with cautious optimism, machines and energy fields humbly acknowledging the presence of the human who had saved them. Lyra turned to Ethan. The future will test you again. There will be challenges, threats, and dangers, but never forget what you felt today. Never forget your connection to the world around you. That will guide you more than any weapon or armor ever could. Ethan nodded, feeling a deep sense of resolve. The tremors beneath his feet pulsed gently, a reminder of the extraordinary potential he carried. He knew that his journey was only beginning. The ordinary human he had once thought himself to be had awakened into something far greater. As the sun set over Zithara, painting the city in hues of gold and violet, Ethan looked at Lyra. So, we keep going? We face whatever comes next? Lyra smiled, placing a hand on his shoulder. Yes, together. The world may tremble when you rise, Ethan, but now it will tremble with respect. Ethan felt the vibrations beneath him, steady and strong. He was no longer just a visitor in an alien world. He was a force of change, a human capable of inspiring courage and hope. And for the first time, he understood that being ordinary was never his fate. The city thrived. The people cheered, and above it all, a human walked confidently among them, extraordinary, powerful, and ready for whatever the universe had in store.